All right, gentlemen, all right, kings, welcome back. So, we got this article. I won't sleep with a man until he spends $2,000 on me. Here's why. And this is from the post wall beauty herself, Jana Hocking. So, guys, we just have extra 2 grand just in our bank accounts collecting dust. It's not like we want to do anything with it. It's not like we have vehicle repairs or bills to pay or hobbies to spend it on. No, 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 no. We have to spend it on post wall trash. So let's get into this. It's a question as old as time. How long should you wait before you sleep together? As a woman, this question is particularly tricky, not because we're supposed to be ladies. That viewed died as soon as Sex and the City girls knocked blokes over the head with the news that, yes, women can enjoy getting jiggy with it just as much as they do. No, no, it's trickier for a woman because thanks to the podcaster Joe Rogan, we've all heard about the fright post nut syndrome. Now, that's the first time I've heard of it called that. I heard it be called post nut clarity. Basically, when you got all your baby gravy still in your nutsack, you got all that man juice just waiting to be unloaded onto your victim. You go, oh man, this is the hottest thing ever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's get into it. And then let the poison out, and you're just like, oh, what the hell did I just do? With who did I just do it with? Like, fuck. Ugh. It's basically instant regret. All the blood that was in your nuts goes back to your brain, and your brain goes, stupid. Just in case you haven't heard, PNS involved a man experiencing some sort of regret following climax, primarily over how they achieved orgasm. So this is written by Jana Hocking. See, not terrible for her age, but her her glory days are definitely in the rearview mirror. This feeling could be the result of having an affair, watching spicy movies, or hooking up with someone they don't actually have genuine feelings for. Rogan explained it by best saying, "You realize you made a mistake, especially if the woman is really into you, and you're really not into her, and you're like, oh, I made an error. Ah, fuck it, I'm not reading this shit. Blah 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 blah. Basically, I mean, we've all been there. We've all busted one all over some chick, and she's like, "Oh, what do you want to do afterwards?" You're like, "Get the f out of here." Honestly, I think it's more brutal than being ghosted after bedroom fun. Mortifying. So when you heard, so when I heard the brand new theory about how long you should wait before having bedroom fun, I learned in how quick. Now, quick disclaimer: when the answer was first put to me, I literally said, "Pff, sound." Yes, to be warned, it sounds ridiculous. No, it doesn't sound ridiculous. Because here's the thing, the fat ladies, if there's any ladies listening or watching or whatever, the faster you give it up to a guy, the faster he's done with it. Listen, we might be all juiced up and horned up and like, yeah, I want to get in there and I want to add another notch to my belt, another conquest. But as frustrating as it can be, we will respect you a lot more if you are more selective. But if you pass out your coochie like it's candy on Halloween, you get some and you get some and you get some. There's really no respect for it because if you don't respect yourself, why should I respect you? Now, if you make me wait and you say, "Hey, I'm only intimate with people I'm in a committed relationship to. I want to be, someone's girlfriend and I want you to be my boyfriend before we give it up and we need to know each other for a couple weeks or months or whatever." As as frustrating as it may be, because we're throbbing in our pants, we're gonna appreciate it a lot more when you finally let us into your flower garden or whatever. It's like, oh, cool. I had to put in some work. I had to earn this thing. But if we know your past history, that you just give it up to any Tom, Dick, and Harry who buys you $2 street tacos at 1:30 in the morning and gives you a little butt rub, it's like you don't value you. Why should I value you? My goodness. So the idea that she's shocked that you should get to know someone before you give it up, and she goes, "Pff, yeah, that's probably why you're single," and write this article. Let's see. But give it a second and let the theory sink in, and you may eventually come around to it. I discovered it last week during a road trip while listening to a great dating podcast by a woman called Tinks. Yes, fabulous name. Stupid name. She was going through a list of dating non-negotiables and casually mentioned that a friend of hers was now made a point not to sleep with a guy until he has spent at least 2,000 on her $2,000 on dates with her. Yes, you read that right. A whopping 2,000. Has no one heard of the cost of living crisis? Okay, what does the cost of living crisis have to do with me spending $2,000 on you? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, you could go to the massage parlor. You could get a nice little rub and tug. Not that I would know. I've just heard about this from my despicable friends, my shady friends. Anyways, or you could rent a girl. You know, they say you can't buy love, but you can sure rent it. And at a 2,000, let's say $200 a pop. So to say, $2,000 a pop all over that face and chest. You could get 10 girls, 10 different girls for the same price that you would get this one girl after $2,000. I mean, pardon the old expression, but who's going to give you the most bang for your buck? Which, with the working girls, that saying is just so excellent. But seriously, $2,000. Yeah, there's a cost of living crisis for you. And guess what? For me too. You know, these are the kind of girls that go, well, I don't go on coffee dates and I don't go walks through the park. You got to flash the cash to get a piece of this. I'm sorry. Unless you are an 18-year-old virgin, you are used goods. Your value decreases every time you give it up to a different guy. So it's like saying, "Oh, you see these pairs of sneakers? They've had 50 different owners, but you got to spend premium top dollar on these used pair of sneakers." You're going to look like, "No. Why would I pay less? Why would I pay more for a lower quality product when I could spend less money for a higher quality product?" It's just absurd. I it makes no sense. No longer are we basing the decision on time, aka 3 to 5 dates. We're basing it on cash money, specifically $2,000. So, like I said, at first I was feeling a little outraged. Surely you can't hold a man to that. I sure hope not. Plus, in this day and age, we shouldn't we be paying our half of the bill anyways? Okay. That's a debate for another day. But 2,000 on dates before you, sorry if you hear the siren, get Rudy Nudie seems a little extreme at first. Seems a little extreme. At first. So now I guess she's going to try to justify it. Then I let my mind wander to the couple of gents I've jumped into bed with after 3 to 5 dates, and I thought, sheesh, if I was living by that theory, I could have probably avoided a couple of mistakes. Well, you could have avoided those couple of mistakes from the get-go. You have full autonomy over your body, my choice. You want to sleep with these guys after 3 to 5 dates. Obviously, they did enough to get you into bed, so now you're going to complain about it after the fact. Like, well, they didn't commit to me, so now they're just jerks and a-holes. Jeez, I mean, this is why you secure the relationship before you secure the bedroom. But no, you do it ass backwards thinking, oh, well, if I give a guy or if I give a guy access to the bedroom fun, then I'm going to ensnare him with my snatch. No, you do it backwards. And then you complain about the results. So freaking ridiculous. That's like if your job gave you your year's salary in advance. Like, here's $50,000. They give it to you in advance, and then you can say, well, now you got to come into work 5 days a week. And then you're shocked when your employee goes, no, I'll just keep the 50,000 and bounce. What happened? They didn't have to work for their money and they just bounced. Well, they didn't have to work for that coochie and they just bounced. Ay, ay, ay. The first reason why this new rule kind of growing on me is that if a guy is willing to go through enough dates to warrant $2,000 out of pocket expense, then there's a fair chance that guy is properly invested into you. I mean, if a libido can withstand many dates, then he's a keeper. The second reason I like this rule, and I think most importantly, is spending the amount of time together without getting distracted by nakedness might actually help us get those icks out of the way nice and early. Okay, you can spend time together without spending $2,000. Like I said, coffee date. If you want to talk about $2,000, how many coffee dates is that? What, 100? If it's $20 a pop, how about a walk in the park? Well, that's free. For example, went on a date with a couple of guys last year and felt comfortable in my decision to sleep with them after 3 dates. On the fourth date, however, I discovered he still lets his mum. Okay, maybe she's Australian or British. She spelled mom, M-U-M. Still lets his mum do his laundry for him. He's in his late 30s and calls rosé rose, referring to wine. Okay, first of all, how did you, in the course of 3 dates, how did you not find out this guy still lives at home? Secondly, I'm sorry, gentlemen, listen, I moved out of my parents' house when I was 23 and a half. And I've been on my own in my same studio apartment since, oh, what, 14 years? Almost 14 years? Listen, is it the fabulous bachelor pad that it could be? No. But, it does what it needs to do. So, listen, I get it. Things are expensive, but to be in your effing 30s and still be living with your parents, gentlemen, get your shit together. So, oh yeah, and ban on the parents for allowing him. They should have like kicked him out by 25. I'm sorry, as a man, by the age of 25, you need to be on your own. But yeah, that's just me. Eek, I can't be dating a man child. You know what? This is what I would say to that. Anytime a girl tries to insult you, like, well, you're just a man child, I'm like, yeah, well, you had bedroom fun with me, so I guess that makes you a child diddler, doesn't it? Just throw it back in her face. Watch as she kicks you to the curb because you insulted her. Now you insult me, I'm gonna insult you back. Had I waited until we reached that $2,000 mark, I would have discovered all this long before he showed me his dad's bod. Showed me his dad's bod, and I could have walked away feeling slightly less guilty. Oh, so now we're gonna body shame him. It's funny. Body shaming is okay when it's at a man's behest, but the time that you ever body shame a woman, how dare you? You know, men can't control their height. Women can control their weight. So who's the real body shamer here? A woman who shames a guy for not growing to 6 foot tall and above, or a guy who shames a woman for eating too much? Now, maybe this guy should be hitting the gym if she's going to complain that he didn't have the 8 pack or 12 pack or whatever. But all right, uh, let's see where are we at. Perhaps if we want to be a little less, dare I say, shallow, rather than basing our decision on money, we could base it all off the checklist instead. The checklist should include things like, what do you do for a job? Money. Do you maintain basic adult responsibilities like remembering to take out the rubbish? How do you do laundry? Do you cook basic meals? Listen, chicken and rice. Chicken and rice, basic meal. Very cheap, very expensive, very nutritious. Where do they live? Have they ever been to jail? Have they ever been? Have they ever had an AVO? No idea what that means. How long was their last relationship? Why did they break up? What's their take on contraception? Condoms should be a non-negotiable. People, I agree. Even if you've had the snip snip, you don't know who has what, creeping and crawling in their cooch. Um, so wrap it up tight. You don't want it to melt off. You don't want the itchy scratchies. Do you feel safe around them? Do you feel confident that they will contact you the next morning? Blah 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 blah. So as you see, because she let some guys bang and bounce, and they didn't have to spend $2,000. She's now having some regret, like, oh, maybe I should have gotten some guys to spend $2,000. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Now, granted, this was about 20 years ago, and inflation has increased steadily. But the radio DJ Tom Likas, back in the day, I don't know. I know he's retired, but I don't know what he's up to now. I think it was like 97.1 KLOS for SoCal. He would say on a date, you don't spend more than $40. That includes whatever. If it's the movies or dinner or whatever, no more than $40. Now with inflation, I don't know if that would go up to maybe $60. But this whole ridiculous notion that you are going to count 2,000 dollars and be like, oh, it's just absurd because there are girls better looking than these witches who will give you the exact same thing for a fraction of the price. I mean, how many times have we been talking to girls and go, yeah, my ex, he was a piece of crap. He was a bad boy. He didn't have a job. He sold, paraphernalia, but oh God, I could change him. And then you kind of try to slide in like, yo, let me get a piece of that. And she's like, I want to be a good girl now. For all these guys that made my coochie wet, that didn't give me the time of day and didn't spend any money on me, oh, they just got all the free love. But now you have to spend $2,000 on me, Mr. Nice Guy. And there's no any guy worth his value, worth any modicum of self-respect is going to kick these witches to the curb. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyways, gentlemen, sorry for mumbling and stumbling. It's been a long day, but as I always, thank you for coming back and take care and take it easy.